Hey guys, Jonathan here at Shadow Foam, and we're back in the workshop this week with Andy, friend of the show. We've got to get this BMX, which is a really good BMX by all accounts. You'll tell us about that in a minute, won't you, Andy?
Yep.
And we're trying to get it into this BMX bag, which is like a long, thin, it says golf on the side. I can picture a set of golf clubs in there, but I can't picture a BMX in there, so...
Oh, we'll see.
We'll see, yeah, hopefully it fits. You reckon it's going to go, Andy, so I'm guessing we're going to have to take it all apart. But what is this bike?
Yeah, it's a Supercross carbon frame BMX racing bike with bombshell wheels, and it's used for racing in competitions across Europe.
Yeah, and that's what your son does, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've got a few trips abroad this year, so the bike's got to go in the bag and be protected, and make sure it doesn't get broken, it gets there in one piece so we can race.
This is probably going to be a complex foam insert. I do a lot of hand tools and they're a cop out, they're nice and easy. So a challenge like this, if you're looking to get your bike protected or something big and awkward, hopefully this video will show you that it is possible. It's going to have to be one of our big sheets, probably chopped down, because that's about a 1.2 metre bag. I reckon we're going to have to go for a few layers, because I can see the bag's about 20 centimetres, 25 centimetres deep. So we'll go for a few layers, maybe a couple of 70s, a couple of 50s, something like that. And yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And then I'll leave you to take it all apart, right?
No problem at all. Yeah.
Brilliant, right, so I'll go and sort the foam out. So we've got the bag and it's pretty massive. So I'm up here in our Shadow Foam storage area and we've got heaps of foam. And I think we're going to go for a nice bright colour. This orange should be perfect. I'm going to grab a 50mm sheet here. We'll create a template, we'll make our first one, and then we'll use that one to create our second one, which will be a 70mm. So I'm hoping to put a 70mm and a 50mm insert in this bag. So all we have to do, I'm going to lay it on there. I'm going to chuck the bag on top and then we'll make a rough template. So all we need to do for that is we're going to place it on the foam, we're going to square it up to one edge, and I've got a silver marker pen here, and this doesn't have to be perfect at this point. I've also put in two little corners here because there's wheels on the bottom of the bag, so we're going to have to cut out two squares for the bottom. And that is our rough template. So once we've cut that out, we'll probably just trim it in a little bit, and then we'll use that template to make a 70mm insert, and then that'll be our inserts ready to use. So we're going to be using this band knife to cut the foam. First things first, get the safety gloves on, and then let's cut this insert out. You could use just a normal craft knife here. One of the ones that comes in our pro cutting kit would be perfect to just trim around this foam and get it cut. So let's get this cut. Happy with that, to be honest. I think we did a really good outline, so I think that should be pretty close to fitting. Might need a little bit of trimming, but we'll try it in the bag. Yeah, so that fits nicely there. The top fits in. And that is it. That is pretty good, you know. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So all we'll do now is we'll take that, we'll lay it on a piece of 70mm, because I can see we've got loads of spare depth. And we're putting a bike in here, so we know we're going to have some deep items. So we'll get a 70mm sheet now, use that as a template, cut that out, and then we'll have the two layers, and that'll be perfect then. Right, so that is the 70mm one sorted. And we've got the 50mm one here, and that should be all we need for the bag. So let's go and get the bike sorted. Right, so I think that is the hardest or the most challenging part of this insert. This is probably one of the most complex 3D objects I've ever cut, I reckon. I've been at this a few hours and I've been going nice and steady because this is not for me. I'd probably go even faster if it was my bike. The first item that I wanted to get sorted was the main bike frame. Obviously this was stripped down partially. I ended up putting the seat back on because it just felt like it was more efficient. As this is the biggest item, we wanted to get this cut in first. So we've got 50mm base layer and then a 70mm top layer. And then we've got multiple layers or depths to try and make sure that this item here is kind of like held snugly. We want this being transported and nothing being damaged. So I want every part of it held snugly, essentially. That's the whole point of this insert. So we've got the chain and the two, what do you call those? They are called cartridges. I think they might be called. Maybe my bike knowledge isn't very good, but we've got the two sprockets, that's what I'm gonna call them, like snugly in there. And the other one of these, whatever that is, that's the pedal bracket. Comment below what these terms are supposed to be, but this pedal bracket is the most kind of proud item, which is sank right down into that 50mm base layer. And then the wheel and then this main carbon frame here is held in the top. So it works really well. I'm happy with it. We've also got a space cut there for the front forks. I do know what they're called. So these forks go in there. They go right down, and then obviously they're a little bit proud. We've still got, though, the other wheel. We've got the handlebars and we've got the pedals. So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to make another insert, a 70mm one. We're going to cut the wheel in, but we're going to offset it. So obviously we can see the deepest part of the wheel is this center shaft. So we want to make sure that it's not on top of that one. We're going to offset it, probably bring it up this way, about 150mm, and we'll put it in its own insert, and that way the layers are going to protect everything and we're going to be able to fit it all in the bag. And what we'll be doing as well is on the back of this insert, we'll make a relief cut, because what the insert we make now will probably go on the bottom. So we'll make a relief cut in this insert here, so it'll like jigsaw together. We'll also probably make another piece to sit over the top of this, which won't have anything cut in it necessarily, but it'll just make sure that none of these items here that are proud, none of this stuff here gets knocked. So we've done a 70mm layer for the base. We'll probably do another 50mm layer just for the top to protect everything. And then we'll glue it all together. Obviously we won't glue the top piece, and the bottom layer will be just a single tray, but we'll glue these two panels together, and that'll give us the most complex 3D insert ever made by hand, I would guess. So let's get this cut out. Wow, so what a project this turned out to be. This was a fair few hours work. So we've got the front wheel, which pops in and out of there really nicely. For this, what we did was I kind of figured out where I wanted the center of the wheel, because we needed it offset to the wheel in the top insert. So it's really important that the two wheels weren't on like aligned with each other. We had to have this one offset just so that we don't have too much height. And then once I'd marked where the center was, I used a dinner plate. You may have seen that in the time lapse. I had a dinner plate to cut the center circle because these spokes kind of like dip in and it gets a bit deeper in the middle. We used a roller tape for the middle. And then once I'd done those, I was able to drop the wheel on, cut round the tire, and that's given me a really, really nice, firm kind of housing for the tire, which I'm happy about. On the wheel, we've got the pedals left and right here at the bottom. Then we've got the handlebars, and we added some finger pulls. And then we also added this cool little toolkit as well, because it's just nice to have it in there. It housed, you're never going to forget it. And it's there, a little reminder. And then what we did was, this is a 70mm liner, so we glued a 30mm piece on the back, just to make sure it was thick enough to house the bracket on the back of this handlebar. And also the shaft that goes through the tyre had a little bit protruding out the back really, and we want to make sure they're really critical parts. I mean, if you bend the bracket on the handlebars or you damage the shaft on the bike, you're knackered. So we wanted to make sure those parts are really protected. So we added 30mm backer. So that is the base insert, so we can chuck this in the bag now. We've also finished off the top insert, which is a 50mm and a 70mm glued together. And what we've done with this is, you might be able to see, we've done a couple of relief cuts on the back of here, which align with the shaft on the wheel and also on the brake handle there. So once that's lined up now, we've got that's an entire BMX all cut into foam. So that is how you cut a BMX into foam. You need 4 hours and a lot of patience, but the technique is exactly the same. You're just cutting around the item. If it's a spanner or if it's this whole BMX wheel, it's all the same. You cut around the item and then you peel back the foam. As long as you've cut down deep enough, it doesn't matter how big the item is, you can peel back the foam, just go slow and steady and you can get all of that foam out. And that is it. The only thing we've got to do now is put it in the bag, and then I will be putting a top piece on here. I'll probably be making a couple of relief cuts just to align with this side of the bike, this pedal bracket, and these other carbon parts here. We want to make sure we've got a top protector. So we're going to use that for the top, but let's get it in the bag and let's see if it all fits. Right, so project is finished. It was impossible. It's all back in towels, Andy, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It was the only way it fitted in the bag. No, we've just about got it in there, and I think, to be honest, this is the perfect bag for that BMX. When I saw it, I just did not have much confidence it was going to fit in here in foam. I can imagine it fitting in there wrapped in towels, but any other in foam, I thought it was going to be impossible. But you can see we did just about get it in there. We've got this topper on there as well for some of the bits that protrude out.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, it really is. Fantastic, that.
Bike's all
Got
in.
everything in. It's nice and, yeah, it's going nowhere, that.
Yeah, and we got the bike seat back on. We've got the brake line cut in, and it was a lot of layers.
Forks. Yeah,
Forks,
brilliant.
yeah, a lot of levels there was to this. But if you're thinking about getting your kind of BMX sorted out and organised in a bag like this, or maybe a cycling case, check out shadowfoam.com where you can get these inserts in whatever. We do these in 7 different colours, so you can get whatever colour you want. We do standard sheets, value packs, there's loads of different ways to order foam, and we've done all of this by hand just with a scalpel and cut-proof gloves on. So it's dead easy to do. Well, it's dead easy to cut shadow foam. It's going to take you a bit of practice and a bit of patience to do this particular job. This is a bit of a challenge, but it shows it is possible without power tools, without machinery. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Check out Jack Devine and his Instagram. We'll put the link below. When's the race coming up?
Race is next week in Verona.
So check out the Instagram. We'll put the link in the description below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see other bikes going into foam, whatever that might be, a mountain bike or a racing bike in a racing case, if you want to see that, let us know in the comments. I read every comment, so I'd be interested to know what you think of this project and any ideas for future projects. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks to Andy. Thanks very much for coming along and bringing the bike down. And we'll see you next time.
Now, before we go back to John O cutting the shadow foam, remember to subscribe.
Thanks very much, Colin. We've got loads of new exciting videos coming all the time. You're not going to want to miss them, so stay tuned.